And welcome back to Lantern Corp video, pre-recorded on Monday for Tuesday. And this one comes to us from Kakarot Bardock's son and Wade Wilson, who asked the question, what Lantern Corp do I think Cloud Strife, one of the main leads from the Final Fantasy series, what Lantern Corp do I think he belongs in? And I'll be straight out honest, I've never played a Final Fantasy game in my life. The only reason I even did this is because A, it was suggested, and B, it was the next one on the list, so I figured get that out of the way so we can get to other guys down the road who I actually know more about. I have seen Advent Children, I believe, the movie. I believe I got the right one on that. I'm actually going to look that up right now. Final Fantasy Advent Children, is that the right one? Where Sephiroth came back for a little bit, and Final Fantasy. Oh, yeah. Let's try that again. Final Fantasy Advent Children. Is that the one I'm thinking of, or is because quite frank? Because I also remember the other one, which. Okay, hold on. Is this the right one I'm thinking of? Yes, this is the right one I'm thinking of. I've seen this one. Yeah. And I actually liked it all right. It was pretty cool. I like that one guy who's like talking about like needing a phone and stuff. Does anyone have a cell phone? And I think I'm pretty sure that was like the voice of Piccolo or something like that. The guy who voiced him. Steve Blum, was that who I was thinking of? Like the kind of like the Wolverine-esque voice? I can't remember exactly. So I vaguely remember his personality to some degree here or there. The problem is it's so generic in many ways that there's not many options here. Let's just get a bunch of them out of the way right now. Greed, he's the protagonist. He doesn't go with avarice very much. It just doesn't work in terms of what he would be leaning towards. Likewise, rage, yeah, he's angry, but is that something that fuels him? Someone mentioned in the comments a while back where it's the rage of losing someone you love that fuels the Red Lantern ring, to which my response is, I don't know where you heard that. I'm sure that many of the Lantern Corps members are fueled by a rage from that source, but that's not, as far as I know, you just need rage in your heart. You don't need to have specific rage. So I'm not certain where that person got that idea from, but to the best of my knowledge, you just need to be angry as hell. The Hulk, for instance, would very much be, I actually don't think I've done the Hulk yet, but the Hulk, for example, is kind of a clear-cut definition of a Red Lantern. He is rage incarnate. Not the rage of loss, just rage. If you try to make an argument that's like, well, no, that Red Lantern wouldn't go to him because he didn't lose anyone, so he's just angry. He's like, yeah, it's the Lantern Corps of rage, not the Lantern Corps of losing someone you love and being angry. That's not quite how it works. There are specific requirements for certain Lantern Corps members. Like Green Lanterns not only have to have strong will, but the ability to overcome great fear. Love with Sapphires, it needs to be love no matter what. Love is not necessarily inherently good or bad. Love can be both, actually. You can do horrible things in the name of love. So there's that catch-22 there. Life, you need to be alive. Actually, you don't even technically need to be alive to be a White Lantern. It helps. It certainly does. But because the White Lantern ring attaches up to Dead Man for a while. If I'm not mistaken, brought him back to life. You just need to be able to nurture life, protect life, ensure that life goes on, live life, feel alive, go on a roller coaster, enjoy your life. So, yeah, that's the kind of things here. But like I said, rage doesn't really work for him. He's been angry, sure, but it's not what drives him. It's not what consumes him. Because if we were to look at every character ever, or almost ever in fiction, there have been plenty of moments where they've lost their tempers. It's like, okay, do they count as Red Lanterns because they lost their tempers and got angry for a little while? Or is it the character, is it a driving part of their character? Batman is a perfect example where he could be a Red Lantern because even though he's very much in control of his anger, he still is just harboring the anger of the loss of his parents. Day in, day out, he harbors that anger, that grief, that rage, the uncontrollable rage of the bat. That's a character who has rage totally, who carries that rage inside him and uses it effectively. It's very rare his rage actually gets the better of him because he's so disciplined. Cloud Strife, from all I can understand, isn't that kind of character. Again, likewise, he's not really he's got compassion, but will we say it's his strongest trait? Probably not. Unfortunately, I can't really speak to fear, because with fear, it's not about being afraid, obviously. It's about instilling fear in others. And clearly, like when he fought Sephiroth was not afraid of him. It's like, yeah, sure, okay. I will never be just a memory. I will say Sephiroth. I don't know much about Final Fantasy, but I will say Sephiroth was pretty cool. It's just that giant F-off sword, man, like, which makes no sense from a physical standpoint. Because that's, I'm going off on a tangent here. We'll get to the actual Lantern Corps I think you qualify for, because quite frankly, they're very what you'd expect from the main hero of this kind of series, movie and game alike. But Sephiroth's sword, really, from a physics standpoint, doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, if you actually look at how he uses it, how it functions, how it moves, it doesn't wobble, it doesn't bend, it doesn't snap at all, like especially when there's extra weight on it. And for all that weight to be distributed along that blade, not to mention that the blade does to a certain degree go into the handle of the sword. That's what keeps the stability of the blade. The handle, if I'm not mistaken, is built around the end of the blade, so it stays still. No matter what, what's the best way for me to put it? You can only have a blade get so long before the weight is not evenly distributed throughout the blade. That's why even with normal like katanas, you see there, you'll see, because that's what his sword is kind of based off, a kadachi or katana, Japanese style sword. They still bend to some degree. There's still a level of movement, but most of the time they're pretty stable. They're pretty solid. They might bend a little bit, but I'm sure his bends a little bit or wobbles a little bit just for like fluidity and motion. But yeah, when the longer you get that kind of blade or kind of object, the more like the weight isn't evenly distributed throughout the entire thing. Or more and better, a better case to the point. That sentence made no sense. A better case in point is that there isn't enough weight to keep it, like it shouldn't be enough weight in the blade to keep it from snapping off the sword while remaining stable without barely moving. It's a very odd weapon despite how simplistic it is. It's just a really long sword. Yeah, it doesn't actually make a lot of sense when you actually break it down. I digress. Let's get into the two very obvious Lantern Corps he belongs to, or may belong to. That's not what I want to do. That's what I wanted to do. Boop. Green Lantern's one. Obviously, he's the main character. He's one of the big heroes of the series. The fact that he overcomes adversity, overcomes his fears, tailor-made for the Lantern Corps of Will. Likewise, he is also probably tailored for the Lantern Corps of Hope. Just because, as you know, the main protagonist of a series, the hero, all that, you never give up hope. People, you inspire up. I'm just gonna adjust this a little bit, and come on, there we go. He inspires hope. I'm sure that Hope would be a good candidate for him as well, or he'd be a good candidate for Hope as well. So ultimately, which one do you think, as a game player, as anyone who's actually plays the games, let me know, which one do you think is more likely from the two options I have here? Green or blue? Hope or Will? Which one do you think he embodies more? Is he one of those rare characters? Because these two do have a relation to each other. Hope is fantastic, and Hope is technically the strongest emotion in the spectrum, but it only can get you so far. You need will to achieve what Hope gives you. If you just stand around hoping for something but don't have the will to act on it, Hope is useless ultimately. But likewise, the hope and will go together, because that continued hope drives will even further. Well, the Green Lanterns can strengthen the Blue Lanterns, and the Blue Lanterns can actually strengthen the Green Lanterns. That's what's interesting. So is it possible that, because I've only ever, with all the Lantern Corps videos I've done, and I've done close to 100 now, I think, if not 100. I can look that up real quick. How many of these have I done? Wait, no. But I'm pretty sure I've done. I know I haven't done 100 yet. We're still probably a ways off from it, but I've probably done like in the upwards of the 60s at the moment, maybe 70s. I've only had one character that I can think of that actually really encompasses both and could theoretically hold both rings and be fine. Generally speaking, though, one usually has power over the other in terms of your emotional sway. So I guess the question is, for you, those of you who really know the character far better than I do Do you think it's a Green Lantern ring he'd wield or a Blue Lantern ring he'd wield? Let me know in the comments below. Personally, I'm probably going to be the guy who leans towards Will. It's just kind of the more common Lantern Corps ring to have between the two. Because if you really look at the Lantern Corps, there are a lot less Blue Lantern. In fact, there are a lot less Blue Lanterns as a whole than there were any of the other Lantern Corps. Green Lanterns, I think, were the most prolific. Yellows had a lot, though. The Celestial Corps definitely had a lot. Rage also had a lot. The Indigos were a little odd. I don't think the Indigos were not lacking per se, but they also didn't have a huge amount of Lantern Corps. Obviously, Avarice only has the one, but only needs the one. Star Sapphires had a solid amount. Who am I missing here? Rage, Indigo. I think I got them pretty much all. Will, Yellow, Rage, Indigo, Sapphire. Yeah, I got them all. And I mean, then there's the Black Lanterns and the White. There's barely any White Lanterns. I think there's like one. It's almost like it's almost the same in the case of Larfleeze, but for a different reason. So yeah, anyway, I would go green. Let me know if you think differently, or if you know the character as I'm sure many of you do better than I do. Let me know if any of the other Lantern Corps rings would probably fit him, because he's probably not a Black Lantern at all. I don't know if he's died, quite frankly. If he's died once, he might be able to qualify. But even if that's the case, I'd still probably put Will over that. White, maybe, but he also has taken lives, so it's hard to say if you can be a White Lantern while still taking lives. Oh, lives. So yeah, I don't know about that, but ultimately, yeah, I'm going green. What do you go with? Put in the comments below, let me know. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. As always, if you want us to review something, put in the comments below. Let us know. We'll do a review of it at some point. And ideas for who would win, Star Wars, Superhero, Magic, whatever, anything to do with the channel. Put that in the comments below as well. I'll get to that at some point. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. Hit that bell if you want notifications.